So I'm gonna prepare for you today a dish that's like very fun to me and for Christmas time, because like when it comes to Christmas, it's all about cod and potatoes and fish. So what I'm gonna do for you is gonna be a horseradish crusted cod with potato and Savoy cabbage gratin. Very simple to do. That doesn't require much pan frying. It's just oven cooking and a little bit of preparation. It takes a little bit of time for preparation. So we can start. I have here a beautiful, beautiful piece of cod that I got from the Kilmore Quay, which I'm just gonna trim a little bit. I'm just gonna take those fatty parts off it. You can use all those pieces later. You can make stock or things. So the thing with cod is, I'm gonna take some salt. It's curing. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put salt. And I'm gonna put it in the refrigerator for 1 to 2 hours. The salt is gonna take the moisture out of the fish and it's gonna make it nice and firm when it's cooked. So I have one piece that I cured before. It's already here and rolled. So you take it out, you can see how the salt released the moisture and keep it in nice shape and made it nice and firm. So we'll cut 2 nice slices. And then it's up for the crust. The crust is very simple to make. Very simple. It has 3 key ingredients: breadcrumbs, horseradish sauce, and melted butter, and some parmesan inside that keeps it all together. I have one that I already mixed together, and it's so simple. It's equal quantities of every single ingredient. So if you put 1 tablespoon of breadcrumbs, it's 1 tablespoon of every single ingredient. So we're just gonna unwrap this. I always put it between 2 layers of cling film because it's very handy to work with it then later. I take it's kind of my thing just to take the edges. It's a professional thing. There we go. We'll cut it through with the cling film. We just put it on the top of the fish and remove. It goes on a tray. And it just goes in the oven for 13 minutes on 200 degrees. The oven needs to be preheated. That's very, very important that the oven is preheated. So 13 minutes on 200 degrees until it gets golden brown. So we'll just put it in. In the meantime, we're gonna work on our potato gratin. Yet again, another very simple dish. It just takes a little bit of preparation. So we have our potatoes here. People, you can use a knife to cut, but I like to use this little mando. I have this one for years, and you can see it's all scruffy, but that's like my little baby. You know, I use it for everything. So you just slice your potatoes carefully because it's sharp. It's Japanese, which means that it's sharp. So you layer off your potatoes, put them in a bowl, a little bit of salt, a little bit more of salt, because potatoes like salt, a little bit of pepper, garlic. A lot of people like to blitz garlic. Don't blitz garlic. Just crush it. And then chop it roughly so you can feel the flavor. So we're going to put the garlic inside and cream, cooking cream. You can add cream later, but I like to put it on the potatoes and I like to mix it all together just because it combines better. And then you can separate them, because when you layer when you layer, it's very important that you layer one each piece, because if they stick together, sometimes it just happens that they don't cook. They cook a little bit longer. Okay, so we have our potatoes ready. So basically what we do now, we just layer them up in nice little layers. Once you have like 1.5 maybe layer, just throw a little bit of that cream inside. And then we'll add the cabbage. This is Savoy cabbage, it's shredded. I just blanched it in a mixture of butter and water, and then I mix it with melted butter. That's why it's so nice and flaky and buttery inside. And while it's gonna cook with the potatoes, all that butter is gonna melt, and it's gonna just go around with everything else and make it nice and flavorful. So there we go. We have that sorted out. And then we'll finish with the second layer of our potatoes. Perfect. And then whatever you have left of the cream, just pour it in. You want it. You just cover it with another layer of parchment paper. And I definitely recommend double layer of tin foil on it, sealed properly, because sometimes if you don't put the cling film, then you get that crust on the top layer of the potatoes, and then you need to throw it away, that first layer, because you can't eat it. But anyways, once you put your tin foil, it goes in the oven. Brace yourself. 2 hours on 140 degrees. The reason I like to cook it slowly, it's just that cream and everything, it just reduces very slowly inside, and it's not gonna overcook, it's not gonna get the color, it's just gonna slowly cook and slowly reduce, and then you're gonna get that nice and creamy texture instead of just like crusty, crunchy. So we're gonna put this here. Now I do have one that I made earlier, so we'll see how they turn out. So like I said, a double layer of tin foil. And then the top layer of the parchment paper. So the tin foil gave us, see, it's white. It's not brown or anything. It's just nice and white and creamy. So we'll just separate the edges a little bit. Of course, it's handy if you have shallower. And we'll just flip it over, and hopefully, with a little bit of effort, it'll pop out. There, it popped. So we'll get rid of the. We're gonna get rid of the parchment paper. Toop. There we go. And then when we cut through it, again, it's just my thing to get rid of the edge. You have a nice little creamed potato and Savoy cabbage. I also have my little fish that I crusted a little bit earlier, so we're a lot faster, and we're just gonna plate it now. Nice little plate, blue sea. So we'll put our piece of fish on. I always like to start with protein. Nice and generous piece of gratin. And then I have here a couple of little goodies that I made. These are shallots. They're just pickled, just pickling juice. Vinegar, a little bit of sugar, salt, some star anise, coriander seeds, cloves, cinnamon. It's gonna work nice because it's a little bit sharp, and you need a little bit something sharp to go through the fish and through the horseradish, because it's all elements are kind of a little bit salty with the Parmesan and with the horseradish sauce and the butter. So I also made here a little bit of basil oil, which is basically just mixed basil, fresh basil and oil, because it just works very good together with the horseradish. So I'll just pop it here, a little bit here. And then to add a little bit of acidity, this is a very interesting thing here. These are preserved lemons that I made around a month ago. It's brilliant. If you have too much lemons, as I did, you just cut them, salt them, squeeze them in a jar, keep them for 3 weeks with turning the jars around, and then you can use them for all kinds of like Moroccan curries or dishes, or like I have the preserved lemon sauce here is extremely strong, is like really powerful. So all you need literally is like 2 tiny little dots. Just for that acidity to cut through with the fish and with the saltiness and with everything. It works really, really good together. And then a little bit dill for the garnish. And what I have here is just, since I skinned the first piece of fish, so I use the skin just to make a little bit of crisps. It's cool, it's fun, and it tastes very good. You know, it just works. And it's so simple. Just a tray, parchment paper, spread your skin, put a little bit of salt, cover it with another parchment paper and a tray, and put it in the oven and forget about it for 10 minutes, and then take it out. It's very simple. There, we'll just squeeze it in here. And there we go. Horseradish crusted cod with potato and Savoy cabbage gratin. Done.
Hi folks, I'm Barry Flanagan from Pro Culture Organic Kombucha, and today I am going to show you 2 cocktails that you can make after your Christmas dinner to sit down beside the fire. We're going to have an alcoholic one, which is going to be using Tullamore Dew, and we're going to have a non-alcoholic one using Cedar's non-alcoholic gin then as well. So the first one we're going to make is using an Irish product, which we're massively wanting to support this year. We're going to be putting 70 mils of, which is a good dose, but 70 mils of their Caribbean rum cask, which will work really well with the ginger from the ginger and lemongrass, into a cocktail shaker with ice. Then we're going to douse 2 Angostura bitters. So you can get this from any good off license locally then as well to spice up any cocktails. And then some orange bitters then as well. Really simple cocktail. In on top, we're going to shake. And we're going to strain into a chilled whiskey glass. And then we're going to top up with some ginger and lemongrass organic kombucha. So that'll add obviously a little bit of carbonation, but obviously with the ginger, it's going to match really well with the spicy notes from the Caribbean rum cask, aged Tullamore whiskey gin. So that's the first one, and you garnish with a fresh slice of ginger. And the second one we're going to do is we're going to do a non-alcoholic cocktail for anyone that might overindulge a little bit in the Christmas period. So we're going to put 50 mils of this Cedar's cucumber non-alcoholic Cedar's gin into a cocktail shaker. And then we're just going to add simply Angostura bitters then as well to add a little bit of complexity and to bring the flavors out. So about 2 or 3 dashes of that. Put the top back on and shake hard. We have our beautiful chilled glass here that I'm sure have lent us here today. We're just going to get rid of that ice. And then we're just going to strain into the glass. And where the kombucha comes in, so this is a cocktail with a K. We'll get our wild berry organic kombucha. So that'll add a bit of fizz and it'll marriage really well with the bitters. The sweetness and the bitters come together. And then we simply just garnish with a rosebud. So that's the Negroni non-alcoholic Cedar's gin and wild berry organic kombucha cocktail. Welcome to Taste of Kildare at Christmas. My name is Barry Flanagan from Lock13 Brew Pub and Kildare Brewing Company in Salmon, County Kildare. What we're going to do today is we're going to taste some beers that we'd recommend to support local for your Christmas dinner. 2020. So today we're going to start off with Electric Juice IPA. Electric Juice IPA is a big, hazy 5.5% IPA packed with American hops. So you're on the aroma, you're going to get tropical notes, grapefruit, and we use a beautiful hop called Mosaic. And we also use in this Odlum's Oats, which Odlum's was a mill in Fallons then as well. So we would recommend to you to pair this with a seafood starter or something that has a bit of spice, because the hops are going to break through and cleanse the palate then as well. So we'll get the nose. Beautiful and fresh, using 100% local Kildare malt from Minch Maltings, and this would be perfect with any seafood starter or salad starter this Christmas. Next, we're going to go to a Chapel Lane Lager. So by far, this is our most best-selling beer in Lock13. It's a nice, clean, crisp beer. So any beer drinker will savor it this Christmas, and we're going to match this with our turkey that hopefully everyone will be enjoying around the table this Christmas. So we're using German hops in this, and it's a little bit of spice, and then also a little bit of biscuity then as well. And it's going to be an added bonus to any dining table this Christmas with turkey. On the aroma, it's nice and clean, and then serve cold. Nice and easy. You'll get the gravy, the turkey, the stuffing, and this will nicely clear the palate, ready for your next bite then of your turkey. Lastly, we'd recommend Baby Boom Milk Stout. So our Baby Boom Milk Stout has a lot of roast, a lot of chocolate, mocha, coffee flavors, and we feel that this would be a perfect dessert with a chocolate brownie or a chocolate tart to finish then as well. On this, it's going to have a nice tanned head. It's going to be quite dark, but we've added some lactose into it, which obviously is the reason why it's a milk stout, and it'll add that little bit of sweetness and depth to the beer on your palate, but also it'll match really well with Belgian dark chocolate desserts then as well. It can also be matched with a nice cheese then as well, a nice strong cheese. So chocolate, coffee, nice by a winter fire, after your dinner even, with a nice whiskey then as well. So happy Christmas, and thank you so much for joining us at Taste of Kildare at Christmas. And for more information, visit tasteofkildare.ie. Happy Christmas.